Hola chicos, today we're going to deal with the formal commands. In Spanish they are called mandatos, and the last time we saw how to form the affirmative to commands. So in this lesson we're going to see how to form commands for usted and ustedes. We also are going to see how to form the negative to commands in this one. We mentioned it before, but in this lesson we're going to talk about that with more detail. So I advise you to see the affirmative to commands lesson before this one, and you definitely should review the conjugation in the present of the AR, ER, and IR regular verbs in the present. Okay? So you remember that in Spanish there is tú and there is usted. Tú is the informal form which is used for friends, family, pets, children, and very informal situation. Then there is usted form that you are using for the formal situations, people who are older, people who are in the position of power, such as boss, professor, and so forth, or just people that you want to show respect. So probably the situations where in English you'd use sir or madam, you would use usted. But in Latin America it is definitely more formal, and in Spain the form tú is definitely more common. I'm not saying that in formal situations you shouldn't use usted and ustedes, you definitely should, but the distance between tú and usted is shorter in Spain. Alright, so usted and ustedes. Let's take a look. You have here two affirmative commands, and you remember that for the two affirmative commands you were just using there are two groups of verbs in here. There is AR, ER, and IR verbs in Spanish. AR is lumped into one group, and ER and IR into group 2. So in the verbs that end on AR, you just will repeat the vowel that you have in the infinitive. Instead of hablar, you will have habla, and it will be the two affirmative command, speak. For the verbs that end on ER, you will add exactly the same vowel again, and it will be come, and it will be eat. The command is eat. And the group number 3 ends on ER. You will add here again the same vowel as in the previous case. It will be vive, and it will be live. Vivir is to live. Okay, so note that here you will use the same ones because it is the same group. Okay, to negative command. Here it is slightly different. So here you will see that the verbs that end on AR, again it's group 1, and the group 2 is ER and IR. And if in the affirmative two commands you didn't have to change the vowel, here you will. So if it is on AR, you'll change it to E, and if it is ER or IR, then you change it to A. It's somewhat arbitrary, but you just will remember A changes to E, and ER and IR both to A. So you have to change it. So no hables, and you changed it. No comas, you changed it. No vivas, and it will be do not speak, do not eat, and do not live. Note that you always change the vowel. Okay, usted and ustedes will function exactly in the same way as two negative commands, except you will not need that s at the end. Alright, so the group number 1, AR, and the group number 2, ER and IR. So you will change AR to E, and ER to A, and IR to A. Alright, so it will be hable, coma, and viva. Please note that it is better to do it in 2 steps instead of 1. First, you put it in the present, hablo, then you put it como and vivo, and then After that, you'll change that last O into the letter that you need. Why do you need that? Because not all verbs are regular, and for the irregular verbs, or for the verbs that have slight irregularities, that step will prevent you from making a mistake. Okay? So I suggest you do it in 2 steps. And so this one will be command: speak, you, sir, your, madam. Eat, you, sir, you, madam. Live, you, sir, you, madam. And that will be the singular usted, you formal form. If you need to make it into the plural, which is ustedes, you plural, which would be in Latin America the same formal and informal, and then you just add n to it. Hablen, speak, coman, eat, viva, you, plural. And the beauty of this thing is that the negative commands are not different from the affirmative commands. So it will be no hablen, will be do not speak, no coman, do not eat, and no vivan, do not live. So it does not change. You just add no before it, and then it will be the same. Okay? Alright, so let's see if you can translate these ones. Do not eat it. What are you translating? The direct object here. So you'd say no lo coma. Don't eat it. You put the direct object, unlike in English, before the conjugated verb. And this is a negative command. So for negative, the direct object will precede the conjugated verb. And for affirmative command, it will follow it. So we have here a sad rabbit, and we're going to give him some commands how to get better. His day is not going so well. I don't know, maybe he ate something wrong. So don't eat it, rabbit. Eat healthy food. Eat your carrots. And then you'll say coma lo. Know that it is going to be attached. Comalo. It will be attached, the direct object, to the conjugated verb, to your command. Yeah. Get up, rabbit. Get up early. Levantar, you remember that it is the verb. So instead of levanta, it will be levante because you changed the letter, right? So it's levante se. So that's how you are going to deal with the reflexive verbs, because levantarse is a reflexive verb. Get yourself up. So it's levante, you change the vowel, and then you put the se reflexive part at the end, attached to the conjugated verb. Levantese. The only thing that you should remember, because you changed the number of syllables here, it will have the accent mark. And then think, rabbit, think of your life. Think how you can live it better. So think will be, it should be pense. Is it right? Because pensar is to think, but it is a stem changing verb. So it's piense. Remember I told you, first do it in the present and then change that letter. Remember? That's the reason that I told you, because the stem changing verbs will be acquiring or changing the letter in their root, and that is the case. So piense would be think, command, changed vowel, that's how you make it command, and then it's still a stem changer. Okay? That would be a good moment to stop the video and see if you can do these commands, just to check if you are getting the material. So let's stop it and see in a minute. Alright, so it will be démelo. you change the verb dar. Me is the indirect object pronoun. Lo is the direct object pronoun. If there is any doubt, there is a video on the using of double pronouns in Spanish in the channel, okay? So, next one will be say it to him. And the verb to say is decir, right? So it will be, if you use usted, it will be dígaselo. And again, you're using the indirect and direct object attached to the conjugated verb. Remember that the conjugation for present was digo, and that's where you get that diga from, yeah? So that's why it's a good point always to put it in the present first, then to change. So it's dígaselo, and then you need the accent mark in here. All right, the next one is don't eat it. Eat is the direct object again. You have eat, comer, so don't eat it will be no lo coma. You change the vowel. You put the upside down signs when you need. And then if it is negative, it is separate. And if it is affirmative, it is attached. Do you see that? Splendiferous. All right, finally you have verbs that end on car, gar, and sar. For example, sacar, to take pictures or to pull out. Gar, it is pagar, to pay. And sar is abrazar. So, again, in order to conjugate it correctly, you should conjugate it first in the present and then as a command. So pay will be páguelo. Lo, direct object, attached, páguelo. And here, what do we have? The verb is pagar, but you have here the mute u. Why do you have it? Because páguelo, in order to preserve that sound as g, you have to put the mute u in it. If you don't, it will be changing to h sound, because you remember that if you do not put the mute u in it, it will be he sound, which is absolutely not correct. So in order to keep the correct sound, you need to put the mute u. Páguelo. Give her a hug. It will be abrazar. Yeah? You have here. And it will be abrácelo. But there is a change into abrácelo. You just need to memorize the disease if they're followed or started to be followed by E or E, they will change and switch to the C. It does not affect the pronunciation, it only affects the spelling. So in Spain it will be abrácelo, and in Latin America abrácelo. It does not change the pronunciation. Take a picture will be sacar is the verb that you need, and it should be like this because you have seen it. But if you put e after it, it becomes sase. Not good. So what do you do? How do you preserve k sound? You could do this, but you do not use it in Spanish unless it's a foreign word. So your next choice, and it is correct, will be sáquelo. Oh, perdón, saque la foto. Saque la foto, and because that's the way that you can create in Spanish the K sound. So it's saque la foto. Take a picture. So these are car, gar, and sar verbs. That's how it works with it. And then finally you have the irregular verbs that you need to memorize. Otherwise you will not be able to give commands for usted, ustedes for. So dar will be de. Ir will be vaya. Tener will be tenga. Estar will be esté. Ser, sea. Hacer, haga. Saber, sepa. If you need to make it plural, instead of ustedes, then you will just add "and" to it, and that's it. And it will be the same for the negative or affirmative command. All right, I hope you are ready to give commands formally to usted and ustedes, and I hope it was clear. And if the explanation was not enough, you're welcome to write to me, and I will record more lessons on the commands. Okay? Ciao, pescao.